Hello there. So in this video, I am going to go over the entry forms that will be due to me on Wednesday, April 15th. Just kind of wanted to show you what they all look like, discuss, why they ask for what they ask for, how that helps us, and why it's important to make sure that you fill them out correctly. So first and foremost, once you get to the MADACS website, again, you can do that via mmha.com under networking and then MADACS, or type in www.madacsawards.com and that will redirect you here. You're going to see entry forms. So these are broken down by the category types. If you're looking at the call for entries, you will notice on the top of the pages, it will say if it is a staff category, a building category, marketing, property excellence, and so forth. So once you've determined what categories it is that you want to enter, then you'll be able to figure out exactly which forms you'll need. So right now, I'm going to start with the staff individual category. So first and foremost, anytime that you click on the entry form, I want you to download that. So go ahead, save it to your desktop, whatever you need to do. And then make sure that you're working off of the copy that you downloaded, because if you start typing here in your window, just on the internet, you might have some issues when you try to save it. So I downloaded it. It's here on my desktop, staff individual categories. So now I'm going to open it up in my Adobe Acrobat and I'm going to start to fill this out. So this is for staff individual categories. So individual, obviously a single person. We do have a separate form for the team categories, which would be caretaker team, maintenance roving team, and then just the standard team competition. So first and foremost, make sure that you read the nominee information here. This talks about making sure that you're aware that the nominees are going to be judged at a specific time, that they're available, with the exception of the maintenance categories, which are being moved from May to June or July. All the other categories should be judged on schedule as they're listed in the call for entries. So if you know right away that your nominee is not going to be available during the 1 week window that was listed in the call for entries, then please do not enter them. We will not be able to make any special accommodations or change their judging date for them. So just a heads up on that. When you're ready to fill it out, we've got an easy drop-down menu that shows you the different categories here that you can choose from. If you go in and you don't see the category that you're trying to fill the form out for, it's because you're in the wrong form. So make sure that you are on the right form, finding your category. Then you're going to type in the name of the nominee. I'm going to type in myself. And then nominees property information. So property name, this is super important because for the individual awards, if they do get the award, it is listed with their site name on it. So make sure that it is spelled exactly how you want it to appear on the award if you win. Also, this is a really important time to let you know that if you are submitting multiple nominations for a single site, please make sure that your property name is listed the same for all nominations, whether it is a staff, a building, property excellence, marketing. We want to make sure. So if it's the XYZ apartments on one, but it's only XYZ on the other, it's going to be a red flag and I'm going to need to reach out to you guys. So just make sure that you are consistent in the way that you guys are naming your properties here. So again, however you want it to read on the award if won. So the proper name of your site is preferred here. So I'm going to say Stacy Karras Apartments. And then you'll type in, property address, city, zip, phone, age of property, the year that it was built, not if it was a remodel or anything. If it was a historic building that was turned into apartments, you'll put the year that it was turned into the apartments. The number of units for categories 5, 7, 9, 18, 20, those are all the multiple sites. So maintenance, multiple sites, leasing, multiple site. Those we will not list the property name and we don't need the property address on, but we do need the total number of units that nominee represents. So property classification, this is really important. So A lot of people sometimes, well, not a lot, but some people get confused on how this reads. So let me explain this to you. So if your property is market rate, okay, you're going to want to fill out this first line here. So is it an A, B, or C rate property? If it is subsidized, is it a tax credit, Section 8, or other? And what percentage of that property is subsidized? If it's a senior property, is it senior market rate, senior subsidized? If it's subsidized, what percentage of that property is subsidized? And then other. So if it's a student housing or a CIC, common interest communities, those are the owner occupied townhomes or condos, then mark there. So sometimes properties will be, you know, half market rate, half subsidized, but I should not be seeing a market rate classification here and a market rate senior. So make sure again that, you know, this is all correct. A lot of times people will fill out market rate A and then senior market rate, and it's really not a senior property. So this line here for senior is only if it's senior. Subsidized here, fill it out if it's subsidized. If it's not 100% subsidized, I want to see what the percentage is for market rate. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Nominees email, make sure you put that in there. That is how we will notify them of their judging assignments. And then management company. Employment status, you know, simple. Start date and current position. Super important here that we need the month, the day, and the year. Hopefully you have all read the call for entries and know that the deadline for being in that position, anybody in the staff individual categories must be employed by the nominating company and in the nominated position since at least March 1st of 2019. That doesn't mean that they got their, employment offer on March 1st. That doesn't mean that they interviewed March 1st. That means that they were employed on site or at the, at corporate in their position on payroll as of at least March 1st, 2019. Every year we do get a couple that will have started a couple days before, or, again, they get the offer letter and whatnot, and I am sorry, but they are disqualified. We've got to stay consistent. If we make an exception for one, we need to make an exception for everybody, and that kind of defeats the entire purpose. So the only exception to this rule is for the leasing lease-up category, which is new this year, and that is because some of these properties are leased up in a matter of weeks, and some of them are a matter of months. They're not all a year, but the MADACS committee has decided on that date of March 1st, 2019. We've been doing that for a while now, just because we think that it does take at least a full year for everybody in any position, property management, or any type of industry, to really be able to feel confident in their position and know what goes on in their position. So that is why we have that. If you have a nominee that does not meet that criteria, we do hope that you will enter them next year. So another thing to note, if they did start March 1st, 2019, and you're entering them for a caretaker, but let's say, so today is April 8th, let's say February 1st, they were promoted to manager or to maintenance or to a different position, they are not in that position that you are nominating for as of today when you enter them. They are not eligible. So they need to be in that position since at least March 1st, 2019, as of today, in that position when you submit that entry. They can't have been in it for 9 months and then promoted and have the judges interview them for a position that they are no longer doing. So that is really important to note as well. Nominated by supervisor. So staff categories, you must be nominated by supervisor. Every other category is self-nominated, but staff, it is required. So I would like that supervisor's name and then supervisor email. And then this is a little checkbox that we have on the bottom of all of our entry forms, just making sure that you've got everything ready to go. So for the staff categories and for the property excellence, all we really need is the one-page form, the fee, any additional requirements. The staff ones require a signed letter of recommendation from the nominating supervisor, maximum one page typed, and then a current copy of their job description. And then on May 15th, which is the additional entry requirement deadline, that's when you'll submit your gala image. And we'll discuss gala images in another video. So when you're done filling all of that out, what you'll want to do after each nominee, some companies enter multiple nominees, you'll want to hit save as, okay, so that you make sure you save your work here. Staff individual categories, what I would do is put in S. Caris MHA. So if you want to put down, you know, S. Caris Dominium, S. Caris Graystar, so that I know what company it is. When you do submit these, you're going to submit them to me all at once. But this is helpful for both you and I to know which form we're looking at. So go ahead and save that there. And then you are done with that form. Okay, so let's go back. So staff team categories is very similar, just asking a little bit different information. The building categories. Here, what's different, are you submitting this nomination as a joint entry? So if you worked on this project with an MHA vendor member and want to submit this as a joint entry so you both get credit, you are more than welcome to do so. You need to fill it out here, check the box, and pay a double entry fee. So basically you pay the $99, they pay the $99. What's important to note with the joint entries is that they must be submitted by the general member company. So if Dominium worked with, let's say, Stacy Cares Construction, Dominium needs to send me that form, not Stacy Cares Construction. We implemented that rule last year because we found that a lot of times the vendor members were sending in nominations, and the general member companies didn't even know about it until we sent them their notification of their judging. So in order to make sure everybody is on the same page here, we want the general member, the management company, to be filling this out and submitting it on behalf. So one thing to note here, if you're doing a joint entry, they must be a member of MHA. So if you want to find out if they are a current member or not, super easy to do. Go to the website, mmha.com, go to directories, buyer's guide. So then you'll want to go ahead and put in the name of the company. So I actually have a hidden product service account. That's just so that I can get all the emails and track everything. So it's under Winston Inc. So I search Winston Inc., which is my maiden name. There it is. If I was not a member, I would not show up. So let's do Caris Inc. because that's my married name and I'm not a member under Caris Inc. There's no records to display. So if there are no records to display when you type in the company name, that means they're not a member. However, if you've misspelled it or anything, you might get an error. So what I would tell you that if you do go to the buyer's guide to search to see if a company is a member of MHA and you receive this no records display, feel free to send me an email, stacy.caris@mmha.com, and just say, hey, you know, checking in to see if this company is a member or not. And I'd be happy to answer that for you. So that's all about the joint entries there. Again, property classifications. And then for the redecorate and remodel categories, which are categories 29 through 32, you'll fill out information on the budget for the project. Again, and then when you're finished with this completed entry form, the 99 entry fee, joint if applicable, and then the additional requirements. So all of the building and marketing categories and some of the vendor categories will require a digital binder. Right here it says digital binder template, or digital binder with supporting materials, required template available beginning March or April 1st. I will personally apologize that it is April 8th and that is not live yet. I do appreciate your patience. Again, with COVID-19, this is all new territory for MADACS, for me, for everybody. And so I'm learning that it's not as easy as just making one general template. I'm making one for all the different categories. So hopefully those will be online by Friday, but if not, Monday at the very latest, April 13th. But again, those are not due until Friday, May 15th. The only thing that I need next Wednesday, April 15th, is this one-page form and the entry fee. Speaking of entry fees, on the MADACS page here, we have a credit card authorization form. Super easy to fill out. Unfortunately, MHA only takes Visa or MasterCard, so no American Express or Discover. However, that being said, if you only have an American Express or Discover, you can still send a check and mail it to the MHA office in Bloomington. I believe our number is on the form here. Let me just verify. I'm sorry, our address. Yes, mail it to this address here. Our mail is on a forward right now to our accountant. So, whoops, excuse me, we will still get that check. So if you can only send a check, that's fine. Just make sure that your check is postmarked no later than April 15th. It is postmarked the 16th, the 17th, the 18th. It does not qualify. The entry will not be accepted. So there's that. Marketing categories, also, pretty simple, asking for, information, property excellence. Again, really important here that you put this property classification down. I should have mentioned, I didn't mention with the staff categories that that property classification information is super important with the staff individual categories, because a lot of times we can see anywhere from 20 to 30 nominees in a single category for staff, for maintenance, or for assistant manager, or leasing, or community manager. And we break that down by property type and or age. So leasing, we typically will go by age of property, but the property type will be for all the other ones. So to keep it as apples to apples as possible, we're not going to judge a maintenance, class A market rate to a maintenance subsidized property. We'll keep maintenance subsidized together, maintenance market rate together, and so forth. So that's why it's super important that you fill that information out and fill it out correctly. So that is a little bit more information on that. We've got the vendor categories. Again, it's all the same thing. One thing I just want to say is please fill out every single line unless it says there is an exception to that line. So we saw in the staff individual categories, it says for categories designated as multiple sites, please provide only a phone number. So you don't need to fill out the property name and address and whatnot. If you do not see a notice like that on the form, that means every single line is required. So please fill them out. If I get forms like that and they're blank, I will deny them and send them back. So when you are all done with your forms, I'm going to close this out here if it lets me. Okay. What you're going to do is send them all to me via email. And so you will send them all together in one email. I need the forms that are labeled with the name of the nominee and then the management company, just like I did the SCARIS right here. Where did it go? Staff individual SCARIS MHA. So make sure that you put the nominee's name and the company on it so that I know who it is. And then go ahead and shoot me an email. My email is listed here on the bottom, stacy.karras@mmha.com. Sorry. Go ahead and put MADACS entries in there, send the payment form, or please let me know in the email if you are sending a check. That way I can let our accountant know to be expecting that. So go ahead, get that over to me. It does take me quite a while to process all these because I do look through everything. So especially the staff categories, they need to come with the recommendation letter from the supervisor and the job description. So I will read through word for word every single one of those. Once I'm done with those, then I will start entering them into our database and processing payments. However, I will confirm via email right away that I have received your nominations. Not necessarily that they are eligible or that they're good to go, but that I've received them. So if you send me your files and you do not get an email back within 24 hours saying that yes, I've received your nominations, then please send me a separate email without any and follow up. I just worry, depending on how they're saved, how many there are, if there are any issues that some are blocked or go to junk or spam. So I will be checking those, but just in case. So if you've sent them in and you don't receive an email from me right away, or again within 24 hours, and don't follow up on it, never receive anything, it's likely that I didn't get your entries, which is why I've been hesitant for years to submit them electronically, but fingers crossed that it won't be an issue this year. So again, if you don't hear from me, shoot me an email. I'm around. So other than that, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory for the entry the entry forms. And again, that is all that is due, with the exception of like the staff, which requires the letter of recommendation from the supervisor and the job description. But that's it for all the entry forms at this point. The digital binder templates, which are due May 15th, will be online no later than Monday, and I will have a separate video for them at that time. As always, if you have questions, you can send me an email, stacy.cares@mmha.com. And I look forward to seeing hopefully a couple hundred entries next week. Take care. Stay well.